He told me to drive it as fast as I could, so I did. This happened about 5 years ago. It was my first week in my first real job, porter at a local car dealership, and I'd pretty much already resigned myself to the fact that my manager was a blank. He was constantly yelling and swearing at me and the other porters over the smallest poop. He liked to have us spend hours reorganizing the used car lot, then yell at us when the car wash line got backed up. Always had us wash his car for free, etc. Anyway, a few days in, he told me he needed me to make a quick run to another dealership, about an hour drive away in good traffic, to do a used car trade. I drive our car over there and drive the traded car back. I let him know beforehand I wasn't very experienced driving on the freeway, to which he replied, "Quit whining. You'll figure it out," and wrote me out some directions. About an hour into the drive, I get a call from him asking if I'm there yet, which I wasn't, owing as much to his blank directions as to my inexperience. I told him I got a little lost but I should be there soon. He started screaming into the phone, "What the blank? I expected you to be pulling up any minute with a brand new car. What the blank are you doing out there?" I just told him I was almost there, and eventually he shut up and let me drive. When I finally got to the dealership, I started asking around for the used car manager. Nobody seemed to know where he was. After a good half hour of searching, I found him myself and asked him about the used car trade with our dealership. Of course he knows nothing. I had to get him on the phone with my manager, which landed me a few more what the blanks. They took about another half hour to get everything figured out. Then it took another 20 minutes to find the car, get it gassed up, etc. By the time we were done, it was prime traffic time, which meant the drive back was going to take at least 3 hours. I started the car and immediately called my manager back. I told him I really don't think we should take this car in this condition. The engine lights on, the transmission slipping. He wasn't having it and told me to just get the blank over here as fast as you can. At that point I was fed up. I hung up and proceeded to drive the blank harder and faster than I would ever drive a car. When the transmission started slipping, I'd floor the gas pedal to make sure the clutch packs were good and burned. Engine overheating? Floor it. Stuck in traffic? Put it in park and just rev the engine. By the time I got back, the engine was knocking and the transmission was slipping so badly it took about 10 minutes just to park it. It had problems before, but now they were so obvious that he'd never be able to sell the car to some unwitting sap. On top of that, it was well after the end of my shift, so I just dropped the keys on his desk and clocked out, avoiding the poop storm to come once he got a look at the car himself. I didn't hear much from him for the next few days, but I reckon he learned to listen when I tell him a car's effed up. I also got a bigger than normal check for that week owing to the extra hours spent driving around. Upper management didn't like that since I was supposed to be part-time only, but they couldn't really do anything about it. TLDR, crappy manager told me to drive his piece of crap car back to the dealership as fast as I could. I destroyed the engine and transmission in the process.